you know.
It's all linked, and it's just, and when I was learning, because I've always been aware, like marginally, of um Israel's occupation of Palestine,
Mm-hmm.
but the attack on October 7th was the since that time is the deepest or the more detailed I've gotten in terms of learning about the reality of the situation, the history, when it started, and all of that, and finding out how many of the Black, historical civil rights leaders supported and championed a free Palestine has been so encouraging. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean encouraging in the sense like, oh, I'm on the right side of history. I think it's the solidarity that's been so encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
Which was I was even more encouraged after I watched Origin, back in January. But I don't know. It's just I don't know how to fully explain it, but it's a boost to me to see that so many of these respected leaders recognized and saw the sameness between the fight that was happening and the struggle here on U.S. soil, as well as in Palestine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And just to follow that thought, this isn't something I was going to cover in Media Mania, but I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. It's so clear to me that like Hollywood has this very sanitized and like surface level way of thinking about like social justice and like how to
Yes.
like truly help people and being like liberals but not really like truly being liberals and being engaged in leftist thought. And one example that I have seen is the fact that Billy Porter plans on writing and starring in a biopic of James Baldwin, even though
Yes.
James Baldwin was a staunch supporter of Palestine, and this man supports Israel. And also, Billy Porter is not the right person to play James Baldwin. And I'm not talking about the like he doesn't look like him. Like he does not emulate anything that James Baldwin believes in. So for you to be writing the screenplay of his life and of his biopic is going to be something that's going to take away anything that's strong and thoughtful in regards to a lot of his like political ideals, namely towards Palestine. And also, James Baldwin was a lover of like black women and an advocate for black women. And when Billy Porter was the only person from his cast in Pose to be nominated for an Emmy, he said the girls would have to wait their turn, which is not solidarity.
I did not know he said that.
He said it. Yes, he did. Yo.
And the thing is,
You're
because
not even that good of
that
an
one,
actor, Billy. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. He is a good actor, but like this is annoying. God.
I, I'm so baffled because not only is he a supporter of Israel, he also has said, "Oh, I don't know anything about that," and has said we don't know what James Baldwin would think about what's currently going on,
We do.
between if he was still alive today, we don't know where he would fall.
We know.
I'm just baffled at
How
the
do
fact
you
that you
not
don't have
know?
to be,
Why
huh?
are you writing the biopic and you don't
Right.
know?
It's the yes, it's the seeming lack of research
Mm.
and internalizing of what this man stood for when you're about to play him and you're writing. So, like, what research are you doing to write this movie?
This is
How
why I
are
don't
you
like
capturing the
biopics.
essence of James Baldwin if
He's
you can
not.
get on an interview and just say all things that contradict who this man was?
He don't know
And this is
nothing.
this is the same interview where Billy Porter says that, like, well, Viola Davis played all types of roles, all types of, he didn't say mammy, but like all types of, like, the crackhead and all that stuff. So from that, and she's won awards. I just feel like he's trying
Hold
to throw
on.
whatever at the wall. Yeah, look it up. Trying to throw whatever. I don't remember which publication this interview was with, but it just seems like he wants to play James Baldwin
Try again.
because playing historical figures like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all that, I feel like he's going for the award. He's baiting an award, and that's it. Not that he actually cares or maybe even respects James Baldwin, and definitely doesn't internalize it, or it doesn't internalize his way of thinking and his beliefs
Mm-hmm.
and his politics.
Yeah, he compared himself to Viola Davis, and I think
Yes.
that I'm looking at the interview. It's in The Guardian.
Okay, The
And he's supposed
Guardian.
to be talking about a movie called Our Son. And I did see a trailer for that. That was actually a movie that I did want to go see and like support him. Yeah, okay, I found the quote you're talking about. Okay. So basically, I'm just gonna read two paragraphs. Okay, Billy Porter, this is what he said. He soon realized that he had to shift the consciousness of the people in order to find work that he felt was meaningful, and that would involve hard work on his part. He saw Viola Davis, a friend of mine, not a close colleague. We work together, we know each other. He says before mentioning her name, seemingly unsure of how to classify their relationship, as an example of how a serious black performer could make it in the suffocating Hollywood system. She played every crack mother, every mother of a drug addict, every stereotypical dark skinned black woman role they threw at her. And she imbued those characters with dignity. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do, he says. He decided that he did care about being pigeonholed in the business and that he would take the queer roles and imbue them with such dignity that by the time the industry was ready to give a serious, nuanced role to a black gay man, he would be the bitch that you call. Who's gonna tell him he's not the only black gay man in Hollywood? And
I
they're
was just
all
thinking about
fine.
Domingo, who just played Rustin, that I still need to see.
And and got nominated for an Academy Award for it.
Yes. Yes. And I think
So
that's what just this interview was so off-putting, but I think that's what he's chasing with this with James Baldwin's this movie about James Baldwin. I think that's what he's chasing is an award. And James Baldwin is just the vehicle through which he's gonna try to get there.
he wants people to take him seriously, even though this man is so deeply unserious at times. And I also want to say, um, a lot of people do biopics in hopes of receiving like Academy Awards,
Yeah.
and I find it to be very annoying because biopics are a sanitized version of a celebrity's life. And I think that a lot of times celebrities want to do biopics because they want to emulate an icon, and the closest way they can do that is through a biopic, not through any hard work on their own side. Not to like, not to call anybody out too much. This is mainly pointed at Billy right now, but like biopics are so annoying to me because they make so many of them every single year. And if you want
Yeah.
to retell someone's actual story and their life, you need to do that authentically. And honestly, a documentary would be the best way to do that. Like you
Yes.
can look at
Yeah.
Rocket Man and Bohemian Rhapsody. Bohemian Rhapsody was supposed to be about Freddie Mercury. Why am I learning about the other band members? Like the alive band members had it in their contract that they would have as much screen time as Freddie Mercury. You really want to compete with your dead friend? And then Rocket Man, Elton John opens his heart and gives us a very intimate and very vulnerable film. And like, is it flashy? Yes, but that's Elton John. That's his
Yeah.
style. And ultimately, it was better than Bohemian Rhapsody. But Bohemian Rhapsody is the thing that got like 4 Academy Awards, and like Rocket Man only got one, which is honestly very disappointing because Taron Egerton deserved. He absolutely killed it in that role. And as much as I love Rami Malek, I love Mr. Robot, sir. The way you played Freddie Mercury was not it. It was not giving. It wasn't. And also, another thing I want to say, real quick, when was Viola Davis playing a crack mother? Someone needs to point that out to me. I'm looking at her IMDb right now, and I don't see it. I don't see it. Close friend, my ass.
But also,
please.
has Billy Porter? I honestly haven't watched most, if any. I don't think I've seen Billy Porter in anything. Because his point was about playing stereotypical roles.
Mm-hmm.
Has he played a stereotypical role? And when we say stereotypical, we're talking like damaging, damages the image of, a group of people. Because I know he was in Cinderella, the fairy godmother. I know he was in Pose.
Yes.
Those are the only two I know, unless I'm forgetting.
I'm sure he's been acting in other things, but Billy Porter also gives me the vibe of somebody who's like, he wants to make it in Hollywood. Like he wants to be like a household name. You know what I mean? I feel like that's why there's a video, I'm not sure what this is in relation to. This man did an ad trying to get people to vote, and it is the most dissonant, terrible song I've ever seen in my life. I watched the video and I was like, is this an SNL ad? Did Mad TV come back? What's happening? Someone made this in all seriousness. I thought this is going to make them vote. This is going to get the kids to the polls. Yeah. When they see this, it's a wrap, okay? No.
And my thing is, I understand that the actor, playing this person in the biopic, they don't have to match them 1-to-1. Jennifer Lopez doesn't have to be exactly like Selena, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But you're playing someone who had very strong political beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what would attract you to play that person if you didn't share even half of it. But more than anything, research, so that if someone for whatever reason were to ask you, where do you think James Baldwin would stand on what's happening today, you could confidently say, well, based on his politics when he was alive, this is probably where he would stand.
Based on his writing, based off video recordings of him, based off of his books. Like, this man is a very well documented man. James Baldwin was alive around the times that TVs existed, y'all. It's not hard to figure out what that man would think about a lot of things. He told us. That man liked to talk. Like,
and to be honest, for me, for the kind of viewer I am, this interview just tells me this interview is not great promotion for this movie, because this interview is telling me this person who's writing this movie, who's been entrusted to do it, doesn't really know and doesn't take the subject seriously.
Honestly, man, when that movie comes out, I'm just not. I can't get into a conversation about biopics, because I could talk about biopics for 2 hours, and it would just be me talking.
You're not looking forward to the Amy Winehouse biopic?
No, you don't understand. The actress who's playing Amy Winehouse in the biopic, she's on HBO's Industry, and I love that show so much, and I love her as an actress. But when I heard that they're making a biopic and they casted her in it, I said, "Oh my god, somebody's make it stop! Somebody end the production. Call everyone off the set, please. Let Amy Winehouse rest. Oh my gosh, you'll never stop. You can't let people have ADPs, not even in death." Listen, we have to move on, because we've gone in so deep, and I need to pull it back. So